So this is about the brain. And this conversation is about all the things that are happening in the brain, the 100 billion neurons that are firing at the same time, and all the things that it can give us and can take away from us. So in this conversation, it's important to learn, what are we doing? What are we discovering? And how can we make things better for ourselves and the next generations to come? So please welcome, in conversation with Katie Collins from CNET, a pioneer in the global fight against Alzheimer's and Parkinson's at the Rockefeller Neuroscience Institute, whose director, Dr. Ali Rezal, and a man who shot to fame 6 weeks ago when it was announced that his company, that he was the founder of, Control Labs, was acquired by Facebook, Thomas Reardon.
Two neuroscientists with me who are right at the cutting edge of this field, which affects each and every one of us. We're going to dive into some questions shortly, and I encourage you to submit questions of your own through the app using Slido 2, and hopefully we'll get to them if we have time. But first, I just want to give our panelists each a chance to explain their work a little, because it's really fascinating stuff. Ali, could you perhaps start by briefly talking us through some of your work on brain implants to treat addiction?
Right. So basically at the Institute we're working on ways to help people with big public health challenges in neurosciences, Alzheimer's, addiction, chronic pain, and fundamentally addiction is what I'm going to talk about today. And addiction impacts millions of people worldwide. And it's a brain disease, and what happens in addiction, if you don't treat it, it can become life-threatening. And sadly in the US, it's the most common cause of death with overdoses for those under age 50. So it's a big problem. And addiction is very complex, involves so many different elements, the genetic components, family, psychosocial dynamic, individual dynamics, peers, and the lack of available treatments or access to treatments that results in a change in the brain networks and the brain in addiction. So it starts up with just taking the drug initially, and then the cycle goes on from misuse to dependence and then addiction. And each step of the process, the brain is changing. There are different parts of the brain that are imbalanced. For example, you have the parts at the base of the brain that are reward center that are super active, and then the cognitive control centers are less active, resulting in addiction over time. So there are multiple nodes in the brain that are malfunctioning in those who have different addictions. So the way we're dealing with them is we have several strategies looking at technological innovation with machine learning, physiological assessments, cognitive assessments, as well as biomarkers, and psychosocial, clinical, and functional assessments that allows us to predict analytics, predict who's going to have a more problem seeking drugs, and predicting relapse. Then what do you do with it with technological innovations for the treatment that we're doing? So we're using virtual reality to treat addictions of different types. We're using magnetic stimulation, magnetic waves that are calming the cravings in those that have severe addictions. We're also using micro pellets the size of a half grain of rice that is injected and gives you pain control for 1 year, so you don't need to take the opioids. And we're also using ultrasound treatments. This is focused ultrasound. The waves travel to the reward center of the brain that's electrically misfiring and reducing the hyperactivity. And also we're using deep brain stimulation, implantation, implants to the brain with brain pacemakers. We did the first patient in the US last week with severe opioid addiction and brain implant. So those are the technologies that we're using for monitoring, assessment, and also treatments.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Ali. Really, perhaps you could tell us a little bit about your work and what you're trying to achieve with Control Labs.
Sure. So the work we're doing at Control Labs is focused on delivering neural interface technology for 7.5 billion people rather than for clinical populations. So the kind of things that we do, we hope actually have value to clinical populations, but we sort of took a different philosophy to it, and we're not trying to create interventions for, say, these affective disorders that the public was just speaking of, but instead trying to extend some of the discoveries that we've made, in our case, in the motor nervous system, and see if we can actually benefit people in their day-to-day lives, people who have fully functioning nervous systems. We don't approach it from a neuropathological point of view. I'll show you some of the breakthrough work we did, and what I really want to emphasize is we did this by focusing on models of how humans control their own body. In our case, how we control our hands, the most skillful part of you, and the part that's the most densely innervated by far in your body, and see the benefits that happen inside of a clinical population. So we can run that video really quick. So this is someone who's wearing a bracelet that we put on that's reading surface electromyography, and he's learning how to get control of a hand, a 5-finger virtual hand. What's remarkable about this is that he doesn't have a hand. He was born without a fully developed left hand, and he's actually able to get full independent digit control. And these are full continuous controls of the virtual fingers, including, most importantly, the forces that we generate across joints. And you can recreate that because we're actually just translating the activity of the nerve rather than the output muscles themselves, what we call the end effector. We're trying to take that kind of skill that Greg benefited from here and extend it to the rest of us. So now imagine if Greg went from no fingers to 5 fingers with skillful control, and I should emphasize, he learned how to do that in a minute and a half. What could you do if I was able to give you 10 fingers? And how long would it take you to control those? And that's really kind of at the anchor of how we think about a consumer brain-machine interface. We kind of prefer the term neural interface because people think the brain is everything that happens up here. It's really the forebrain. The brain is this cohesive organ that includes the spinal cord, and it's these spinal neurons that generate all of the motor commands that your body is capable of performing. That we're interpreting. We interpret as motor neurons in the spine. And we're doing this in context for the next kinds of computing platforms that we're doing today. So virtual reality, which you just saw, augmented reality, maybe that computer that's on your wrist, where the traditional means of interaction make no more sense. So that's where we are. We're taking that work with us into Facebook. Facebook we just set up.
Right.
Yep.
And one thing that I'm really curious about your kind of career path and your journey to where you are now is you started out studying neuroscience and then you kind of went into entrepreneurship and private company. Why did you feel that this is kind of the right route for you to be able to achieve what you want to achieve when it comes to brain interfaces?
Sometimes you start a company because you don't have another choice.
Right.
And that's probably the case here. There were a couple other scientists that I had great collaborations with. We were at Columbia together, and we spun out of Columbia because it was very difficult for us to do the work that we wanted to do jointly in an academic environment. And that gave us the impetus to go start a company to kind of pursue this work. And it's been kind of off to the races since then.
Now, Ali, just coming back to your work on addiction, it's clear that there's a real range when it comes to the level of invasiveness of the different interventions that you're suggesting. I take it that the most invasive solutions are always reserved for the worst cases, and that you perhaps would only use those as a last case scenario. Is that correct?
So basically, initially like virtual reality or even magnetic stimulation, these are non-invasive technologies that we use, but there are patients who have progressive addiction and it's a life-threatening condition with multiple overdoses. So for those, a brain implant becomes an option. And that's only an option if it's reviewed by an ethics committee, reviewed by regulatory bodies, peer-reviewed, and others. So it took us 3 years to get the approvals to initiate the study. But this individual was severely disabled since age 15, taking opioids from shoulder surgery from a football accident, and has become very severely disabled with multiple overdoses. The brain implants are not the first or second line treatment. They're for those with severe end-stage end-period addiction.
And I've got a question that actually for both of you. I'm really curious about what you think about, you're both working in a health context at the moment. How do you feel about the extension of these technologies outside of a health context?
Outside of
health. So, as consumer products or into everyday life?
So I think it depends. So brain implants for sure not. So not getting a flu shots in a pharmacy or a tattoo. This is a regulated condition that requires prescription, so it's a very complex procedure with risks. But I think in terms of virtual reality and other maybe wearables that can be used for someone to be more in charge, in tune with their internal nervous system and addiction cravings, and use that as a biofeedback, I think those are in the consumer domain. But we need to explore our options because like addictions or Alzheimer's or Lewy body disease, these are life-threatening, life-disabling conditions that we need to leverage technological innovations to help patients.
I'd only add to that, it's not my field. There's also a really great and I think very positive renewal of energy into the pharmacopoeia, into substances and drugs that were somehow abandoned over the last 50 years that are now coming back into psychiatric care. Things like ketamine and MDMA and psilocybin that with or without functional interventions, these functional neurosurgical interventions, are really having a profound impact on people with PTSD, depressions, etc. I, with my company and the work that we're doing, we are rapidly focused on non-pathological usages. And I can't say it strongly enough, but we really feel like you can bring the most benefit to clinical communities at scale by trying to work at scale in a consumer realm, public consumer, but I mean a mass market realm, and then hope that these inventions can filter back in more targeted fashions to clinical communities. I'm not saying that we ought to break open functional neurosurgery for the mass market. And there are an endless number of cases where these functional interventions are really the best tools available. But I also feel like something that's happened in the neuroscience community in the last 20 plus years that I find a little bit unfortunate is that academic neuroscience has been completely pathologized. You cannot get funding in neuroscience unless you write your grants based on the pathology that you're working on. And we're attempting to kind of turn that on its head and say, how can we actually pursue academic neuroscience research, basic research in neuroscience, where the end goal isn't just a cure for Parkinson's or a cure for Alzheimer's or a cure for any number of addictions. These are all important questions, but if you've been in academic neuroscience, you'll know, especially in the US, that it's sort of overwhelmed with pathology as the forcing function. And I find that really unfortunate, and I hope that we bring back, I don't know how to say it other than a bit more upbeat approach to what we're really trying to do in neuroscience, which is both understand how our brain works, how these neurons ultimately lead to behaviors, in some cases how they lead to these aberrant behaviors and what we can do to intervene, but also how do we become better humans, all of us, not just those with clinical deficits.
Ali, your career has been solely in clinical neuroscience over the course of many years, and I'm sure your work has benefited from funding from public-private partnerships. Do you agree with what Reardon says that we should be, not just focusing on the health benefits and the clinical cures?
I agree with what you're saying. I think traditionally academics, medicine has been guided by getting grants, but the ecosystem needs to integrate. So working with industry is extremely important because the great work that you're doing, we can leverage that to help people with quadriplegia, paraplegia, and strokes. So it's very important. And also we need to bring in the National Institutes of Health. We need to bring industry, regulators, all working together. So without that ecosystem, we cannot make an advance. We have problems like Alzheimer's, addictions that are ravaging society with no cures. A lot of problems we need to band together as a unit, an ecosystem, and rapid translation to patients and responsible action.
I'll just take a quick question from the audience. We're rapidly running out of time, but I'd like to get to at least one. How are you thinking about the ethical implications of using tech to make super brains?
So it's an interesting question. The technology should always be used, from my opinion, as a physician to help patients. There are many patients, their families suffering addictions, Alzheimer's, and other conditions. So technology should be used for us to understand what's going on in the brain better, understand the neuroscience conditions. And I've been asked this question before many times, create superhumans and all that, and my answer is no. We're here to help patients. So leverage technology to help patients who are suffering from disease. And everything like the brain implant we do, for example, done for Alzheimer's or addiction, it involves many regulatory oversights, and it's got risks. When I was saying earlier, it's not getting the flu shots at local pharmacy. You can have problems, complications from this. So it needs to have regulatory oversight, it needs to have ethical oversight, peer oversight, in the context of deploying this new technology, especially with brain implants. And it's only reserved for those who failed other options. It's not the first line of therapy.
Reardon, you mentioned we should be maybe leveling up as humans with technology. How do you feel about that?
I think we want to be in a position where we're maximizing the use of our cognitive capacity. I look at any number of you out there using that little addiction device in your hands right now, and I wonder, are you really maximizing your cognitive capacity? I actually think those devices shrink you as a human. So from my perspective, it's not about making a super brain, it's about using more of this brain you already have and not fighting through this little pinhole experience of an iPhone that frankly I think regresses us as humans. I really feel like the opportunity here is to open up new kinds of interactions for me with devices, computers, machines that actually maximize our humanity. It's not about changing the structure of your brain, it's about using your brain in the most efficient and cognitively enjoyable way. And if you're telling me that typing on your iPhone is enjoyable, I think you're very addicted.
And that's my next panel. Everyone's center stage in 20 minutes if anyone's interested.
Do you have an addiction solution for iPhones?
So that's good news already. But I think so the brain also changes in the digital addiction and also phone addiction. So that's an active area. So if you're becoming addicted to this device, so your brain's physiology is slowly changing. It's a dopaminergic reward system every time you're looking at this. So it is a form of addiction also that you're doing the sessions soon about that as well.
Now, we're almost out of time, but as we know, there's still hundreds of things that we don't know about the brain. It's still such a mystery to us. And I'd like to know, just before we leave it, if you could have one mystery solved about the brain or one question answered about something that we don't already know during your lifetime, what would you choose?
The kind of cellular neuroscientist in me would say I want to know what else do place cells and grid cells do in the hippocampus, because we think that's mostly what they're doing, but I think it's less than 1% of what their function is.
I think it's difficult to say what you choose. It depends. So if somebody is a quadriplegic, we need to learn about the motor system. Somebody's got a stroke, somebody's got Parkinson's, we need to learn about the motor system, addictions, the cognitive behavioral, Alzheimer's. So it depends, and so all parts are important. But I have to say, from my perspective, I'm interested in the areas of brain learning more about the area for empathy and compassion, which is something that why some people have it and some don't have it. So if we understand that better, I think we can help the world.
And that's something I would choose as well, I think. Well, thank you so much. Would everyone like to give the panelists a